All right, thank you very much. It is 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. It's slowly getting some brightness out there, right?
Yeah.
The cloud cover is making it look darker than it really should be right now, right? We're not that deep into the autumn yet, right?
Yeah.
It's still dark in the morning. You know, we made this list a long time ago of things we absolutely hated, things we wish we could delete from the universe.
Yeah.
Headaches and long lines were at the top of that list, and we have a doctor on the phone, Dr. Peter J. McAllister. He is the Director of Clinical Research at the Headache Center at Associated Neurologists of Southern Connecticut and Clinical Assistant Professor of Neurology at Yale University School of Medicine. So he's in the big leagues, Robin.
Yeah.
So maybe he can help delete headaches. He's going to talk to us about treatment options that can help those afflicted, especially with chronic migraines. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Good morning, Larry and Robin. I can't help you with the long lines, but hopefully the headaches we can.
Do you ever get a headache?
I get a headache, but I happen to be married to a migraine sufferer, so I have firsthand knowledge of what it's like.
I apologize for laughing. I thought you were going to say you were married to a headache. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Me too.
No, she would say that about me, actually.
Help us, and maybe we shouldn't be asking this, but just in case, help us understand what the word chronic actually means, and maybe what the word migraine actually means.
Yeah, sure. So, most of us have gotten a headache in our lives, but migraine is different. Migraine is a neurological, genetically inherited condition that causes severe, not mild or moderate, but severe head pain, nausea, light and sound sensitivity, concentration difficulties, and it really leads to what we call functional disability. That is, you're missing significant portions of your life. People have a hard time going to work. Children have a hard time getting to school. You have a hard time taking care of your kids and even enjoying quality life. So 36 million Americans have migraine, and that's more than heart disease and diabetes combined.
And now you add the word chronic. You add the word chronic to it? Oh, see,
yep.
See, here's what's happening. There's a delay, and it's making it seem like we're talking over each other. So I just want to apologize for that. So I'm sorry, just go ahead.
Oh, that's quite all right. So, yes, there's a subset that's the worst of the worst, and this is the 3.2 million Americans who are suffering from chronic migraine. Now, chronic migraine, by definition, is 15 or more headache days per month, lasting more than 4 hours, and at least half of them have migraine features like that light and sound sensitivity and nausea I spoke about. So that condition leads to amazing disability, and while nobody dies of chronic migraine, the World Health Organization considers it one of the top 5 most disabling medical conditions.
Wow. That's a lot. I mean, maybe it's a small in percentage, but 3.2 million, that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people, and there's a lot of folks out there who are undiagnosed. So about 80% of them have not been diagnosed properly yet, have not been to a headache specialist, and therefore they're not getting the proper treatments.
By the way, headache medicine, I guess I'll just refer to aspirin because it's the only one I really take. The aspirin only helps me if it's a mild headache. So I don't know how people with migraines, I mean, that must be the worst. I mean, if I get a bad headache, it doesn't matter if I take aspirin. It doesn't really help it.
Right. Aspirin's an anti-inflammatory, and if you catch a migraine very early and you have a bit of luck on your side, aspirin can help sometimes. Really what you need are the more specific targeted medications. Aspirin's going to help with your twisted ankle and your bad knee, etc. But there are migraine medicines to take when you have a migraine as soon as possible that can really do a good job in knocking it out.
Oh, really? Now, why does the other medicine work? What does it do differently than aspirin?
So for the infrequent migraines, let's say you have 3 or 4 or 5 a month, you can take a medicine as soon as possible that turns off the cascade of inflammation that happens in the brain. And the prototype is called Imitrex or sumatriptan, and that works on a chemical called serotonin. So that's different than the anti-inflammatories that you can take over the counter. In fact, as an aside, the over-the-counter medications, if you take them too often in a month, can actually lead to headaches, and we call that rebound or medication overuse headache.
Now, how about the person that has been in a vehicle accident and then they just have headaches all the time and they just don't seem to go away and the doctors can't do anything for them? How do you help them?
Yeah, that can be, quite disabling. Even after the other injuries of the car accident heal, people can be stuck with these daily headaches. The way a headache specialist looks at that is some of these headaches seem to be more like tension headaches, that is, a band around the head, and some of them are actually migraine, post-traumatic migraines, and they get the throbbing headache and the nausea and the light and sound sensitivity. And if they have those every day as you're describing, they would fall into the category of chronic migraine. And the only medicine that's FDA approved to treat chronic migraine is Botox, believe it or not. So even
Really?
the post-traumatic ones could benefit from Botox injections.
Really? The same stuff you get rid of wrinkles with?
Or big lips?
That it was found accidentally, and folks who were getting injections for their wrinkles, some of them said, "Boy, I look terrific, but I used to have these bad headaches and don't have them now." And that led to a whole whirlwind of science over a decade that culminated in October 2010 with the approval by the FDA of Botox for the treatment of chronic migraine.
Wow.
How do you do that? Do you just go to your doctor and say you want a Botox treatment for my headache?
Yeah, well, the most important thing is getting the diagnosis of chronic migraine. Again, 80% are still not diagnosed. The second thing is working on lifestyle and eliminating stress and treating depression if it's there and getting diet changes and exercise. But if you're a candidate for Botox, you need to find a headache specialist who has interest and expertise. There is a very useful website, and it's called BotoxChronicMigraine.com, where people can go on and learn a bit about migraine and chronic migraine, and then they can put their zip code in and find those in their area, and I'm sure that there are some down in the Ocala and Orlando area who are experts and can treat them.
BotoxChronicMigraine.com. I just wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget to repeat it. The application of it, how is it? I mean, do you inject it into the head? How does it apply to a headache?
Yes. So think of a very tiny little needle slipped under the skin, in the forehead, by the eyebrows, over the ears, in the back of the head, down the neck and shoulders. It's actually 31 little injections, but it can be done. It sounds a little draconian, but believe me, I do a lot of this week in and week out, and it's minimally uncomfortable. And here's what I say to patients. If it reduces the number of headache days and headache hours per month, it's definitely going to be worth your time to have 2 minutes of little pinpricks.
There you go. How long does it last?
In the studies, it lasted about 12 weeks. So I have patients who come in winter, spring, summer, and fall, and they see me get their injections, and they've really gotten a lot of their life back because they've markedly reduced the number of headache days per month so they can get on with their job and on with taking care of their kids, etc.
Oh, man. That is really good news. I want the listeners to be able to have this information because if you call me later on, I'm going to say, I don't remember. So I'm writing it down as best I can. So far I wrote down BotoxChronicMigraine.com. What other information can you give us for them, or maybe they can write it down right now if they're able to?
Well, I mean, just an important point is folks who are having lots of headaches shouldn't suffer alone, and they shouldn't go to the supermarket and buy over-the-counter medications thinking they have to treat themselves. There are headache specialists out there. Botox Chronic Migraine is one website. The American Headache Society has a website, and you can Google that. There are treatments out there. We don't have a cure for migraine or chronic migraine, but we sure have a whole lot of treatments to make their lives more livable.
There was a website given to us to prepare for this interview, and it is wonder.cdc.gov. I guess that's the Center for Disease Control, right? Is that a good one for this as well?
Yes, absolutely. Another great site.
Okay.
And migraines know no age, because I know my daughter started getting migraines when she was almost 16, and she still isn't able to get rid of them.
Seems like girls get it a lot.
She's in her 30s now.
Is it a female thing more than a male thing?
Absolutely. Boys and girls get the same amount, and then when girls start beginning to have their period, it takes off. So it's 3 times more women than men have migraine. And yes, I've got people who down as low as 4 years old with migraine, and I have a nun I take care of who's 93.
A nun?
A nun.
No. Well, this wouldn't apply to the nun, but if the woman says, if you're going to get that Viagra, I got to get that Botox treatment.
That's right.
Because I can't do it with a headache, you know.
Well, if they really do have chronic migraine, then they're entitled to their Botox.
You're not kidding.
There you go.
Dr. Peter
awesome.
J. McAllister, you have given us some really good information this morning. The website again, BotoxChronicMigraine.com. And call us if you need that repeated. I appreciate some of you might not be able to write it down as you're driving. Doctor, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Well, Larry, Robin, thank you very much.
I apologize for the delay, by the way, and the echo. We'll take a break and be right back.